Hello, this is Vazgen, owner of Cobex Construction Group. Today, we're gonna follow me and I'm gonna show you what it's like a day in the life of Cobex. Let's go. We typically like to start our Wednesdays with the production meeting. We'll roll into the meeting. I'm gonna show you what it's like to kind of go through that flow. I'm gonna give you a little tour of the office. We have the reception here and we're gonna walk over to my business partner's office, Dimitri. Dimitri is responsible for most of the production process here. So he oversees productions, operations, making sure the customers are being taken care of, making sure everything is going smoothly. And Victor, he's a field project manager. Say hi, Victor. And this is what we call the war room. This is the production office, yeah. So we have project managers. Vasily, he's on the roof front, roofing, operations, productions, managing, scheduling. So this beautiful schedule that you guys are seeing here, these are the jobs. We take them through the flow from basically pre-site, pooling permits, order scheduling material, a lot of the organization, a lot of the back end that has to happen for everything that needs to get done in the field. And my friend Yuri over here is same thing on the exterior siding, windows. So we have quite a bit of roofs that Vasily's managing right now. We just had a storm. I don't know if you guys heard, but there's been a storm recently, so we're dealing with that. But Noel's office, a production assistant, so he's the guy that's pulling the permits, ordering materials, helping with planning, scheduling as well. Customer service. Ina's over here helping us with bookkeeping. She's financial accounting. She just joined. We're so happy to have her. She's a big part of what we're doing here, and seems like we're gonna have some fun growing together. So this is where I do most of my work now. Typically what I like to do is I like to start my day with more of the offense planning, and I want to start with what my goal is for the day. I plan it the night before, but then I come in and take a look at the schedule, and these are all the appointments that the guys are running in the field. And so I'll look at that, look at the flow of it, and then we'll see if anything needs to be moved around or if it all looks good. All right, walk with me to the warehouse. First off, we're mostly storing windows, some roofing supplies. A lot of the roofing supply gets delivered to the job site, so we don't need to carry a whole lot, but we still, for convenience purposes, carry wood, some materials, underlayment, attic insulation, different things like that. But for roofing, most of it just gets delivered to the job site. For windows, they get delivered to the warehouse and then we ship them out, so we can see every single bay is a separate window order. So these are all different customers, and so we'll just line them up. And as soon as they come in, the next day they go out. So this doesn't stay here more than a day typically. So I'm gonna give credit to Dimitri on this, because we used to, we used to go and do a lot of cleanup and then take them to the dump, and it was just a lot of back and forth. So he's like, hey, why not just put a dumpster in the warehouse and have the guys just drop it off there? So that's been saving us a lot of time. Great idea, all about working smarter, not harder. And yeah, the mezzanine for just extra supplies, roofing supply, nails, all that good stuff. So guys come in the back, drop off whatever they need to do, and we rock and roll. All right, well, I'm gonna come catch up on some stuff before we head out. We have an appointment later today. We're gonna do a quick inspection on the roof. We're gonna see if it needs to be repaired or replaced, and I'll help walk through that process. And then we have a second appointment. We'll jump right afterwards, but before we jump on appointments, got a few things I need to catch up on. All right, we're gonna grab the truck, go to a job site. All right, it's a beautiful day. Finally got some sun. So typically what I do before I head over to the appointment is I read the appointment notes to get some context. So we call the customer to let them know we're a little early and we're not that far away. It's only a few minutes away from the office. So first impression, roof doesn't look that old. Don't see any obvious signs, but of course, got to get up there and take a closer look. Let's go. Get on the roof and take a closer look. What you want to do is make sure everything is secure. So one thing I look for while I'm on the ladder is I lift the shingle up to look at the underlayment and to look at the starter strip. So looks like this had a second layer of roofing. You can see the brown underneath there. Problem is with second layers, a lot of times it hides imperfections. A lot of the issues that should have been dealt with don't. Just right off the back. So we were talking about below when there's a transition of roofs, different slopes meeting together. It's an area for a lot of issues to arise, because what happens is you have a transition, and sometimes those transitions, either they're not sloped appropriately or they don't have the right flashings. In this case, one thing that caught my attention right away is this here. So this is supposed to drain the water, but you can see that there's been a lot of debris that's been collecting here. And so what can happen is, especially with the heavy rain, water can backflow and it can start ponding. And it's one thing when water ponds when it's a low slope membrane, but it's another thing if water ponds where there's shingles, because if the water rises and gets underneath the shingle, there's not as much to protect it. Another thing is I'm seeing a lot of issues with around the chimney. We have a lot of attempted repairs with mastic. It's not a long-term solution. It cracks over time. The chimney flashing definitely needs some attention here. The other big problem is when you have such a wide chimney, this wide, what happens is water can pool right behind the chimney. The cricket needs to be bigger than that. So there's a code that needs to be calculated. So this typically will need to be higher and provide a little bit more of a slope for the water to drain, because it's like a giant wall. Water's pouring down and it's not draining fast enough, so it's not diverting fast enough, so that needs to be lifted quite a bit higher to allow the water to flow past it a lot easier. I noticed the issue was coming right over the window, which is right here. So it's this general area where we're seeing a lot of the moisture. Another thing to keep in mind, water can travel through any area, so it's possible that even in a location here, the leak can start and it slopes, falls its way to the side of the wall and can come down to the sides of the wall over the windows. One of the things we can do with low slopes is to protect it and coat it with the new silicone coating. In that case, basically it's just a waterproof membrane that we apply over it. It's a 20-year product. It's an easier, cheaper option than replacing it completely, because it doesn't look like the lifespan for this TPO is gone. It just looks like there's some area where water is getting in, and we have to remove some shingles to really find out the exact scope of it. You know, anytime there's like a penetration, you know, water can get underneath that as well. So we take lots of pictures, stand on the ridge here, and then get different angles. So you'll start with front, turn about 20-30 degrees, another 20-30 degrees. So if somebody's looking at it from their office or wherever on their photo report, they're getting a 360 view of it. So we do a 360 view from the ridge, just getting all the angle of the shingle. And then we get closer and start looking at penetrations, flashings, get a little closer, another angle of the area we're concerned with. So we're gonna take a quick look at the rest of the roof to see if there's any obvious damage that we see that warrants a replacement versus a repair. So when the gutters are clogged like this, water can just pour right over because it doesn't have anywhere to drain. And this looks like a potential issue that it can overflow and backflow, get under the wood there. So want to make sure to keep those gutters clean or get a gutter guard on there. So if you're not going to go clean it yourself, or if it's a rental property, which I think this is, you know, unless you have preventative maintenance regularly coming out, better to take preventative measures like gutter guards to protect it from future damages. So this is an example, a good example. We should repair or replace. And because there's too many signs, I usually have like a checklist. Like if there's 3 or more reasons why I'm leaning towards replace, I'm just gonna go with it. Number 1, we see too much fiberglass showing. That means the granules are already sloughed off. The line of defense is no longer there. That's not a big enough cricket there for the water to divert. We talked about that. The previous attempted repairs, those are bad signs that there may be issues, more issues. Again, flashing issues along the way here. The 2 layers, that's the third thing. That always concerns me because it just tells me that there's a chance that the previous roofer didn't even have a chance to see what was going on. They just added a second layer on there. So there could be damages that were there originally. So in this situation, I'm not comfortable with just the repair because I can't warranty it. I can only warranty the area we're working on, but it concerns me that there's gonna be other issues, and I don't want the customer to spend all that money on repairs when they're gonna have to replace it just a couple of years later. So it's my job to explain that to them, to educate that to them, and to say, look, we can repair the area and maybe stop this particular issue right here, but I see too many concerns throughout the roof, and I feel like it's gonna be a bigger issue. I'm recommending it to be replaced. That's my assessment. Let's go tell the customer we got everything we need, and since they're the renter, I'm not gonna go over all that detail with them. I'll explain to them just briefly, and then I'll probably be in communication with the landlord. So we're gonna give our next customer, Art, a call, let him know we're on our way. Hey Art, How you doing?
Yep, good.
Good. Hey Art, we're on our way. We're about 30 minutes out. Just wanted to give you a heads up that ETA is about 11:45. Is that gonna work for you?
It's all good.
All right, look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, man.
All right. I was back and forth with Art on the phone before he called me, and he was like, "Hey Vaz, I saw you guys on Facebook, and looks like my roof might have had some wind damage." And I talked to him on the phone briefly, and you know, I pulled a couple pictures online, and you know, got some more information, and I said, hey, let's come and take a look, you know, and he's available today. So we're gonna go see if his roof has enough storm damage, and if so, what his next step should be. So about 30 minutes out. All right, so we're gonna go see Art. He was wondering if this roof would be a good candidate for an insurance situation. Art, how you doing?
Good, how you doing, man?
Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah, definitely got some good end of that wind damage, man.
Oh, definitely.
You can see those shingles just pulled right off over there. Especially when the roof is so steep, man, you get a lot more wind just beating up on it like that, you know? So we would for sure want to just take a whole bunch of pictures, get on there and document some stuff, you know, put a good photo report together, you know, what we find, and then we'll just submit it, you know, and at that point, once you have the report, once I put all the pictures together, get all the photos of everything, I'll give it to you. You can submit it and say, hey, this is Cobex. This is who I trust to do the roof. This is what they proposed. You'll open up the claim. And then a lot of times they'll send an adjuster to come and take a look at it, and then just call me and say, hey, Vaz, the adjuster's coming out. They said it'd be okay to meet you. And so when I can meet with them on site, you know, I'll point a few things out to them too, like, hey, I think we should go this route, and it's better for me to be on site. It's not mandatory, but it's better. And then there'll probably be some back and forth after that. But yeah, do you have any questions or anything like that for me?
Nah.
It's an act of God, so even if they end up doing it, it shouldn't affect your premiums because it's not something you could have controlled, you know?
Gotcha.
So, Art, one of the things definitely we would recommend is to trim the tree branches back, because if the leaves fall, they're gonna collect and sit on the roof. It could damage the roof faster. Obviously, besides clogging the gutters, if the branches like start getting heavy and start rubbing with the wind on the roof back and forth, it can cause an abrasion and it can cause a hole in the roof. So this probably needs a second coating, over it. This would be a good idea for the silicone, just to go right over, because the water can come up here and just pool and get right behind. So want to make sure to go and clean all that out, put the right flashing in there, and just silicone it. So we'll come up with a different game plan for this section here. So we're gonna start taking a bunch of pictures. So for insurance purposes, like I said, get on the ridge and just start doing different angles. So Yesenia's booking some appointments, looks like. This is Marina. She's HR and she oversees accounting. So she's been pretty busy. So we just partnered up with another company. Well, we actually bought them. They're a flat roofing specialist company. So we're merging the two teams together. We'll have more on that later, but she's been pretty busy, you know, helping out with that. So I'm sure you're having a lot of fun with that. All right, so that's it for today. Basically, to recap, we did a quick overview of day in the life of Cobex, got to see a little bit behind the scene, meet some of the faces here, and then we followed me to a roof repair or replace appointment. We got to take a closer look at that, and then went over to do a insurance, basically inspection, help the customer out there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some insight from it. If so, would love it if you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace.